Nintendo's Game Boy introduced to the world a brand new way to play games. On the go. And since the Game Boy, we've had tons and tons of handhelds. From the crappy Famiclones to the jaw-dropping 3DS. And even attempts from major studios like Sega with their Game Gear, or PlayStation with their PSP and PS Vita. However, as phones become more and more capable to play games, are mobile consoles going the way of the Atari? That is what we're going to look at today. Now, it seems crazy to say that mobile gaming could be going anywhere. I mean, after all, just 4 years ago, we were still debating the NX while playing our 3DSs in school, on the bus, or wherever else. I mean, heck, my girlfriend is still playing her 3DS. But no matter how much we may not want to believe it, it seems the industry as a whole is saying otherwise. I mean, just look at Nintendo. For years, they have made a model of doing both home and mobile consoles. And yet, their great new console merged the two mediums. How could it go away? But that's exactly how. One of the things I cut out of last week's video was me making a comment about the Switch, where I said that it was kind of odd and I thought they were losing money by selling only one console instead of two. After all, they didn't really do much updates to either consoles at the time, and they were making $600 from people buying a Wii as well as a 3DS. So clearly, they were losing money by only selling one for the same $300, right? Not really. I mean, after all, that wouldn't be true if they were, say, selling less mobile consoles. Maybe that would influence them to combine them instead of feeding a dying market. Perhaps they simply decided to chop off life support for mobile gaming in favor of something new, giving it a silent burial. Now, David T., you might remember him from the last video, he had the comment, said that mobile consoles rank among the top 10 console lists. And me, wanting to create an actually good argument in this video, decided instead of just taking his word on that, I would actually go and check. And indeed, 4 of the top 10, shown here, are mobile consoles. Specifically, the PlayStation Portable, or PSP, the Game Boy Advance, the original Game Boy, and the DS. However, you notice a trend in all of these? All the mobile consoles on the list are old. The most modern one being the DS. And I decided I wouldn't be much for actually debating topics if I didn't do the proper research. So, I decided to look at the sales of Nintendo's handhelds side by side to see if they were experiencing a decrease in mobile console sales. And as you can see here, it certainly does. While there was a fluctuation with the Advanced, it surged back with the DS, and then had another very similar drop with the 3DS, before taking a second massive drop down to only 2 million for the 2DS. I don't need to point out the irony of that, right? Point still stands that it's clear they were selling less and less and less and less of their mobile consoles. But why would that be? Seems like it should be a given. And the culprit is, as always, competition. Except, not competition with Sony and Microsoft, but rather with Microsoft, Apple, and Google. Phone developers. I mean, after all, in the modern day, phones are getting more and more and more impressive than they ever have been. Now, you can pull up Sonic CD and Mortal Kombat on any phone. The way mobile gaming succeeded was that, at the time of, say, the Game Boy releasing, people didn't really have smartphones. And the little smartphones that were out definitely weren't there to play games. And in the days of the DS, smartphones were still fairly new, especially ones that could play games. And back when you were playing those games on phones, they were games like Fruit Ninja, Angry Birds, Flappy Bird. Games that were simple and didn't require much actual processing power. Addicting games, yes, but not to the standards that we saw on consoles and are still seeing on consoles. But fast forward to today, and now I can pick up my iPhone and play Mario, or one of a million Mario clones. I can get an Animal Crossing experience. I can even get games like Honkai Impact, or Raid Shadow Legends. This video's sponsored. Just kidding. No one wants to sponsor me, because I'm not monetized yet. But still, we get console quality games on our mobile phones. We like to think of phones as just being crappy, quick caching games. But it's becoming more and more true that your cell phone is a mobile gaming alternative. The way mobile gaming stayed relevant back when they were out, and still are out, is that they were easy and simple for the average consumer. Instead of having to load up a ROM and slot in an installer and do all sorts of crazy stuff, and on top of that, not even have them work half the time on phones. Instead, you could just simply pull out your 3DS, turn it on, you're gaming in less than a minute. But now, that same logic that worked to help the mobile gaming industry is also starting to hurt it. Because now that you can have pretty much the exact same type of game that you would have on a 3DS, but on your smartphone, it's becoming a thing of convenience. Why would I bother digging around in my bag and pulling out my mobile gaming console when I can just grab my phone out of my pocket and play a couple games really quick? People are simply choosing the comfort and functionality of a phone over mobile gaming and mobile devices that cost extra and can't even do the same things phones can do. While Sony only said it to defend their own miserable mistakes, they did have a point. With the increase in phones and phone gaming, mobile gaming is dying. Nintendo's just lucky that they saw the signs and jumped ship before they started losing money. Switching over to a safer bet, a home console that you could take with you. Gives that name a whole lot more meaning, huh? And with mobile devices going out the window and COVID showing companies they can save a few dollars by having people work from home instead of having them come into the office, I think we're going to see a major shift from commuting to computing. And once you've had a long day of typing away on your computer to your boss, what's something comforting you can do? Well, you can go to your couch, pick up a controller, start up a console, and get immersed into a world. A world with no worries, and a world that you don't have to get sucked out of the immersion of because there's no loading times. A world with no interruptions. A world you can just get sucked into and experience and relax in. Looks like Sony was a lot smarter than we thought they were when they decided to jump out of the mobile market. But that's just my thoughts. Please let me know your opinions down below, and sorry for my horrible voice cracks and horrible ability to read a script. If you would like to support the channel, Why can't I do a frickin' Patreon segment? If you want to support the channel, the lowest tier in my Patreon is only $1, but if that's a little too rich for your blood, you can also support the channel equally by just simply subscribing down below and remembering to hit the like button if you did like the video, or disliking the button. Disliking the button? No, fuck it. I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving it in! Disliking the video if you didn't like it. And last but not least, please remember to stay safe and have an awesome day.